Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to present to you the swimming techniques and the other branches with regard to swimming. So, starting with the history of swimming. So, we all know that there are different recreational activities that has been emerged in the making as of today. But since we are talking about swimming, swimming has been emerged as a recreational activity last 1830s. Especially, it emerged in England first. But we have this so-called St. George Path that has been opened to public last 1828, and it is considered to be the first indoor swimming pool. So next is swimming as a skill. So why does it called to be a skill? Why does swimming is called to be a skill? Well, apparently, wala namang naipanganak na magaling na agad lumangoy. So, swimming needs to be, or a person who wants to be a great swimmer needs to undergo a training, a proper training, or a proper practice. So, we need to know the basics, know what's proper and improper. We need to know what are the do's and don'ts regarding to swimming in order for us to perform it well. So, that is why swimming is a skill because it needs a proper training, it needs a proper practice. So it says here that self-propulsion of a person through water for recreation, sports, exercise, or survival. So the next slide is swimming as a sport. So as what I have said earlier, it is a skill. So it is then also considered as a sport. So why does it considered as a sport? So hindi lang po siya basta recreational activity. Hindi lang siya basta kinonsider as recreational activity, ginawa rin siya or nagdagdag sila ng twist of competition or ginawa nilang competitive swimming para nang sa ganun is may dagdag nila as swimming is a sport. So, dinagdag nila ang swimming sa mga Olympics, yung mga sports or activities sa Olympics. That is why swimming became a sport. So, one of the most popular Olympic sports now is the competitive swimming. So, next is the kinds of swimming techniques. There are four: the freestyle stroke, the elementary backstroke, side stroke, and the breaststroke. So we're gonna discuss it one by one, starting with the freestyle stroke. Freestyle stroke is also known as front crawl. So considered to be the most efficient and fastest type of competitive swimming stroke. Actually, aside from that, it is also the most preferred stroke of the professional swimmers and triathletes. So next is the elementary backstroke. It is easy to learn and is useful for improving one's confidence, especially for beginners. So intended siya for the people who wanted to swim but is afraid of water, surface. It is helpful to the beginners since it boosts the confidence and it improves self-confidence. That is very useful for beginners. Next is side stroke. As its name indicated, side, it lies on one side with asymmetric arm and leg motion. So since it lies on one side, it became helpful in life saving because yun nga kapag um, it lies on one side, you would be able to carry or hold your someone who's been in difficulty. Pwede kang tumulong or matutulungan mo or makakapag-rescue ka ng taong nalulunod kasi one side lang yung ginagamit mo. So you could carry the person who's in difficulty on your one side. That is why helpful siya in life saving. Next is the breaststroke. It's swimming on one's front in which arms are pushed forward and swept back in circular movement, while the legs are tucked in toward the body and then kicked out in a corresponding movement. So apparently, yung lower body dapat natin dito must be strong. So because legs, parang yung legs natin ang yung magiging basis natin or doon tayo magde-depend. We will depend on the legs or the lower body in order for us to move. So we need to have a stronger. Our lower bodies or lower part of our body must be strong enough. Next is the kinds of floating techniques. We also have 4, the vertical survival float, back float, treading water, trough inflation, and gloss inflation. We would also going to discuss it one by one, starting with the vertical survival float. So, si vertical survival float is used for survival situations. As it is indicated in the title naman, for survival situations talaga siya. And it is also used typically by swimmers with lower body fat who are not buoyant enough to stay near water surface. So, parang useful rin siya sa mga beginners na natatakot sa water surface. So, ito, ang good sa kanila, vertical survival float. Next is si back float. Back float, it is the most commonly used by the swimmers as of now. Or even though yung mga hindi swimmers na pumupunta sa mga pools, sa mga resorts na nakakaalam nito, is ito yung pinaka-common na floating techniques na alam nila. So, it is a floating position on one's back with arms extended out to the sides and face upward. So, ito yung nakatingala ka, tapos yung arms mo is naka-extend lang siya, and then nakatihaya ka and nakatingin sa taas. So, that's the back float. That is the most commonly used floating techniques. Next is si treading water. So, ito yung you are going to use your legs in order for your head to keep above the surface of the water. So, ito yung ginagamit mo yung legs mo para yung mukha mo or yung head mo is nasa taas lang siya ng surface ng water. So, yun nga, sabi dito, swimmer is in an up and down position and arms or legs are used to keep the head above the surface of the water at all times. So, yun si treading water. Next naman is meron tayo ditong si trouser inflation tsaka si blouse inflation. Well, actually, they are similar or they are both used by the victim as a floating device. But, its differences is that si trouser inflation, ang ginagamit natin dito para makagawa ng trouser inflation as a floating device is that yung lower garment natin. Si lower garment yung ginagamit para magkaroon tayo ng floating device, ang tawag doon, trouser inflation. Kapag naman si upper garment o yung mga blouse natin, yung mga pantaas nating damit ang ginamit in order for us to make a floating device, ang tawag doon is blouse inflation. So that's is the similarities. They are both a floating device, but they differ on which part of our garment is used. So kung lower garment, si trouser inflation. Kapag si upper garment, si blouse inflation. Next is other swimming skills. So we are all familiar with this naman, dive. It is a jump into the water with your arms and head going on first. So next is rescue swimming. Rescue swimming refers to skill that enables an individual to attempt rescue when a swimmer is in difficulty. So, hindi porke sinabi niyang rescue swimming is kapag may nakitahang nalulunod, magre-rescue ka na agad. It's not that easy. So, it is a combination of communication skills, specific rescue swimming strokes, and release and evade techniques. So, meron siyang proper techniques, meron siyang proper way of rescuing, So, meron ding proper at improper way ng pagre-rescue. So, hindi lang porke may nakitahang nalulunod is tatalunin mo na kahit hindi ka naman marunong lumangoy. So, sinabi niya dito na communication skills. So, hindi po porke, kunwari, maalam ka sa rescue swimming, hindi porket sinabing it is a combination of communication skills, is hindi niya sinasabing makikipagchismisan ka while doing the rescue. Communication skills that paano ka makikipag-usap dun sa nire-rescue mo on how are you going to talk or how are you going to be in one. Parang paano kayo magkakaroon ng connection na yes, tutulungan kita without the way na makikipagchismisan ka sa kanya. So you can you communicate with him or her through your eyes, through your body languages, ganyan. So, it is a combination of communication skills. So, tsaka meron din siyang mga rescue swimming strokes, yung techniques na dapat gawin kasi hindi naman lahat ng strokes is used for survival or used for rescuing. So, next is golden rule of water rescue. Syempre, meron din tayong golden rule sa pag-rescue. Never place yourself close enough to be grabbed by a panicking victim. Bakit? Because there would be a possibility or there would be a tendency na mag-exchange kayo ng situation. Baka mamaya is nag-attempt ka ng rescue or nag-water rescue ka, nirescue mo yung isang taong nalulunod, mag-change naman kayo ng situation. Ikaw naman yung nalulunod, tapos siya yung na-rescue. Paano pag selfish yung taong nirescue mo? Nailigtas siya, hinayaan ka niya. Of course, ikaw yung nagrabyado. So, in that particular case, never place yourself enough to be grabbed by a panicking victim. Huwag kang lalapit dun sa nagpapanik na victim kasi baka mamaya ikaw naman yung malunod o ikaw naman yung maging victim. Imbes na makatulong ka, ikaw pa yung nahirapan. So, always place distance and device between rescuer and victim. So, kapag nagre-rescue tayo, always put yourself or always think of your safety first before doing such thing. Kasi baka mamaya is may nakita kang nalulunod, magre-rescue ka na agad, hindi ka pala marunong lumangoy. So, meron naman tayong mga different types na pwedeng gawin para makatulong without risking our own safety, without risking ourselves para makatulong ng ibang tao. Yes, it is not selfish na tumulong, pero it is not also selfish to think of your own safety first. So next is the kinds of rescue techniques. First is the reach technique. Reach technique, reach technique is with the use of a long stick, scarf, clothes, or any materials that crouch or lie down to avoid being pulled in. So, ito yung ginagamit na technique kapag, kunwari, hindi ka marunong lumangoy. Or kapag nataranta ka, pwede kang gumamit ng reach technique. So, kapag may mga nakita kang mga bagay na pwede mong ibato sa kanya para makuha niya at mahilang mo siya, is pwede yun para ma-rescue mo siya. One of the best thing na pwede mong gamitin dito kapag meron is a rope. Pwede yung rope is ihagis mo sa kanya and then hindi mo siya basta-basta hihilain. Kasi baka mamaya, sa sobrang panic niya, ikaw naman yung mahila dun sa may tubig. So, pwede mo siyang hilain pero you need to crouch or lie down para maiwasan na ikaw yung mahila ng victim. So, next is the wade technique. Wade technique is that you're going to test the depth of the water with a long stick before wading in and then use the stick to reach out and then hold on to someone else. Yung parang ganun din sa reach technique kanina, ang pinagkaiba lang is you're going to test the depth of the water, kung gaano siya kalalim, bago ka pumunta or mag-wade in. And then after that, gagamitin mo yung stick na pinang-test mo ng depth ng water para ma-reach mo naman yung taong nire-rescue mo. But, in order for you to do that, kailangan humawak ka sa ibang tao or humawak ka sa bagay na alam mong matibay para hindi ka may anod or hindi ka mapasama dun sa victim. So, para makagawa ka ng rescue, baka mamaya is kapag hindi ka naman humawak sa ibang tao or sa bagay na matibay, is that pareho naman kayong maging victim. Next is the throw technique. Ito is you can pull the person or otherwise throw something that will float. Example of this is yung mga plastic bottles, yung mga malalaking plastic bottles, balls, mga life buoys, anything that will float para lang habang hinihintay mo yung rescue is yung person na i-rescue is safe. So, yung ulo niya is nasa taas ng surface ng water, nakakahinga siya while waiting for the rescue. Especially, you can use this kapag hindi ka marunong lumangoy or you don't have proper knowledge about rescuing, is pwede itong technique na to. And then, row technique, if there is a boat nearby, ito naman yung kapag may nakita kang boat sa tabi-tabi, and then may nakita kang nalulunod, you can use the boat, but don't use the boat if you cannot use it safely. Kasi baka mas lalong magkaroon ng disgrasya or baka mas lalong lalala pa yung sitwasyon. So if you can use it safely, then this is the proper technique that you're going to use. It is called as row technique. So, pwede mong puntahan yung i-rescue mo, but always think of it na don't ever pull the person on board kapag nagpapanik siya, because it might capsize the boat, or pwedeng yung boat is mabaliktad, pareho kayong mapapahamak. So next is equipments used in swimming. So ito yung mga dapat nating gamitin while swimming. So si swimsuit. Swimsuit is, alam naman natin that yes, it must be proper worn when swimming. A swimsuit used in swimming must be fit enough. So, hindi po dapat kapag nagsiswimming tayo, hindi lang po basta-bastang sinusuot na sobrang luwag, hindi naman po sobrang sikip, is that kailangan fit enough lang siya sa body so it would not hinder your movement. Kasi baka mamaya pag sobrang luwang naman is baka yun pa yung maging hindrance para hindi ka makalangoy ng maayos. Kapag sobrang sikip naman, baka hindi ka naman makahinga. So, kailangan is must be fit enough to your body lang para nang sa ganun is hindi niya mahinder your movement mo at makagalaw ka ng maayos. Next is si goggles. This equipment will help a person or a swimmer to be able to see underwater. It is important in crowded pools or for lap swimming to see turns, walls, and barriers. So, usually ginagamit to sa mga triathletes, sa mga competitive swimmings. Para nang sa ganun, makikita nila yung turns nila, makikita nila kung saan sila pupunta, yung walls, yung barriers, kung doon na ba sila sa wall, kung doon na ba sila sa may barrier, makikita nila underwater. So, pero sa mga nagsiswimming lang naman sa mga pools, yung mga ganyan, usually hindi na nila ginagamit to. But, in order for you to, if you wanted to see or you wanted to be able to see underwater, you can use goggles. Next is swimming cap. So, yun, parang ginagamit lang din ito sa mga competitive swimmings. A swimming cap keeps long hair out of your face while you swim. And if you spend a lot of time in the water, this is beneficial. So, most kasi ng mga swimming pools is may mga chlorine. So, parang nakakasira siya ng hair. So, if you wanted your hair to be good, then you can use it. So, ginagamit rin to sa mga competitive swimming kasi syempre, lalo na kapag babae yung nagsiswimming, is magiging hindrance to, or yung hair may hinder your movement as well. So, in order for you to keep your long hair out of your face while you swim, use a swimming cap. Next is fins, paddles, and boards. So, ito is usually ginagamit ng mga nagpa-practice na mag-swim. This is not merely required in competition. So, hindi na siya ganun ka-required sa mga competitions, but is commonly used for practices or for recreational swimming. So, ayan nga, kapag nagpa-practice or kapag may mga recreational activities regarding to swimming, pwedeng gamitin to. Fins increase the resistance to legs while paddling which enhances the muscular benefits. So, nakakatulong daw siya para mas lumakas yung mga muscles natin, especially yung legs natin. So, thank you for listening.